climb a tree.
Watch out.
Ah!
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of the Forbidden Limb Podcast. I'm your host, Richard New, and I'm joined, as always, by Ryan Heek and Jeremy Commander. Today we're going to continue our conversation about how to get ready for a con, and we're going to pick up pretty much where we did last time. So what type of equipment should I have at my booth? What are you going to have to make sure that everything runs smoothly for the weekend?
There's so many things that you kind of want to have that a lot of times you'll forget about it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of these little things. So like bungee cords are amazing for signs, and you can use them for basically hanging up different things. So
like zip ties. Put that in your con kit.
Definitely, zip ties are awesome. Or bungee cords.
I wouldn't have thought of that right off the bat.
Yeah. So like here's a sign we made at FedEx. So 11 by 17 inches. They work really well because you set them up on a table, but then you can also put them you can take them out so it'll stand, and you can hang them up on a booth wall or something. You can hang it somewhere. You put a bungee cord on each corner and then attach it to something. Works really, really well.
For this vinyl?
Vinyl. Yep, vinyl. It's still pretty thick, but yeah, you can go to FedEx and buy it for like $20.
What's the dimensions again?
11 by 17 inches.
11 by 17.
In great color, especially when we get really close. You can kind of see some, not pixelation, but just that it's
the color printing's just outside the lines.
Yeah, maybe. But when it's further away, you can't really see that anymore. It looks great.
People hopefully are not that picky. Does that include the stand? The price?
It does. $20 for 11 by 17 at FedEx. Great. And then you can also get the like 6 foot tall signs that a lot of people have. They really catch your eye. So that's another good thing. And you can also get them
thin vertical stripes.
Yeah, those are going to be more like $150 to $250 depending on what you get, what your stand looks like.
If the artwork in your game looks great, and probably is totally worth the effort.
Yeah, and do it in a way where you can reuse those even, a year or 2 years down the line. You're still probably going to be selling that game, and you can have that sign. It might not be front and center at your booth or wherever you are, but you can still have it. And it's not going to say, now on Kickstarter or,
Don't put Gen Con 2015 on your sign, because then you have to buy another sign.
Yeah. So just make it a generic sign, and that's all you need. So you can get a bigger one. So those are some things to catch your attention. And then, if you can get it to roll up like this, again, sorry for
So Brian's holding a bag where that same sign we mentioned a moment ago rolls up and fits in a bag for easy portability.
And the stand rolls up right inside, so you can put it right in your suitcase. It works really well.
For a tighter budget, for Protospiel, I used freestanding acrylics that I got like at Office Max, and you print out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you slip that in the acrylic, and you can get ones that aren't too bulky in your luggage, and that's an option too for signage.
Yep.
Let's say I'm doing that small local con, I'm like, I don't know if I can buy big vinyl signs. I can go buy. They were on sale at Office Max for $5. Buy one of the freestanding acrylic. If I shop around, put my print out myself, put it in there, and that's something I can reuse. Or even change the sign each time for not much money.
Yep. And the smaller you can make them, the more you can fit in your bags to take with you, so you don't have to ship things.
Yep.
Yes.
And the last thing you need is a banner. You that's probably going to have your publishing company on it, and those get expensive. Those are big. Those are probably 10 feet by 3 feet. So very, very big banner, and those are probably going to be $300.
How specific are you given the information on the size of your booth?
You know everything, and you better be able to ask every question about it. You can even get into some details. You can start asking about, what's the expected traffic. How many people are going to walk by my booth? The people running the convention should know that and be able to give it to you. And if I have my booth over here in the corner, what's my throughput? What's my traffic going to look like there compared to if I get the big one in the middle of the convention hall? What's that going to look like? The 50 feet by 50 feet booth in the middle, or the 10 by 10 booth here on the side or something. So they should be able to give you some information about that if you want to get into those details.
But so you know exactly how big to make your poster.
Yep.
Your booth has to be freestanding. There's not a wall to hang things on, right? People forget that. And so for some people I've helped, they go and they buy these freestanding metal racks so they can hang some stuff on there, and so they have some fake walls to put into their booth. Something you have to think about.
What I do, Target, I just go to Target. They have these box cubed wire things that I actually use as furniture, actually, to put my projector on in my living room. But it works really well for convention because they all come completely apart. You just have the cube walls, and then you have little connectors at the corners, and you can very quickly put together anything you want. It's flexible, so you can make it at different sizes, different
It's like an
heights.
erector set you get for an adult. You know,
Exactly, exactly. It
It's
is.
just you can make it in any shape you need.
Yeah, so then you can put those up as a place to hang signs, or as a divider, or as a counter, where you can use to have people purchase things. So they're really good. You can, I'm sure, go to Walmart too and find them. But I know the Target ones are cheap, but they're also pretty good quality.
Generally, for conventions, you're allowed to bring your own booth setup. And there may be restrictions on whether or not you're allowed to bring tables. Some conventions force you to rent or buy tables through the convention. So I've gone to ones in the past where we priced out the booth, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can only get tables through us. You can't bring your own table."
And they have restrictions on, like, you can't use cardboard boxes. Everybody has all these cardboard boxes. It's tempting to use that to in your booth for something, but most of them say you cannot do that. Smaller con, they probably won't care.
The con may charge you for electricity,
Yep.
and that may be included. You may say, "Oh, you have to pay extra if you want to use a power outlet or have electricity." It used to be you'd have to run a phone line into your booth if you wanted to do a credit card machine and take credit cards, and you'd have to pay the convention for that as well. That is no longer true, and we can talk about how you can take credit cards in your booth. I don't know if we should do that now or later.
Well, you brought it up, so let's talk about that.
Sure.
What are some easy ways that we could do a non-cash based economy in a convention?
When I go to Gen Con, I have limited cash, right? And I may not have time to find an ATM and go to the ATM.
Not to mention, you don't want to pay they'll hike up the fees for the ATM. So
Yeah, exactly. So I may not have that much cash. I don't want to travel that much. Maybe I'm going to a city I haven't been to before. I don't want to carry that much cash on me. So like last time I was at Gen Con, the majority of my purchases were credit card. I did make some cash purchases too, but I used credit card a lot at that convention. And there were some booths that were cash only because they didn't have a phone line, didn't have a credit card reader. Nowadays, if you are a vendor at a con, you have no excuse not to take credit cards. All you need is a smartphone and a credit card reader. And I have signed up for and used 3 of them. I have here the Square Reader. This is free from squareup.com, where you can go to any Apple retail store and they carry these Square Readers. You pay $10 and there's a $10 gift card in it. So it winds up being, you just pay the sales tax. I have the Amazon credit card reader. You can order these off Amazon too. And so you just go to your Amazon account. You can order a reader. You need to sign up for Amazon Payments. And you should do this before you go to the con. So there's some financial hurdles you have to jump in and put in information and set that up. And then I have the PayPal reader. And PayPal offers the PayPal Here app to take PayPal payments via credit card reader. And you can do that through PayPal's website as well. Having played with all of them and their apps, my favorite is Square, because I find their app is the easiest to use and set up. And they have a great tool on the iPad called Square Register, where you can pre-program your own buttons for different combinations of things with pictures. So let's say you're helping me in the booth. All you have to do is say, what game are you buying? And you hit the picture for it. And it does the price. It'll calculate the sales tax for you if you want. And it'll do that in the app. Often when people are picking a payment system like this, these go in the headphone jack of your smartphone. They work on Android or iOS. They pick it based on who has the best credit card rate. Well, this guy was 0.1% less. So every transaction, I pay less than 0.1% less in fees. And what I want you to consider is time, how valuable your time is, and your user interface. The interface is really hard to use. These guys are fiddling with it, and they're trying to get it to work, and it's difficult to use. He saved 0.1% on each transaction. And over the con, that added up to what, $20, $25?
You might have had someone in line that was just like, I'm just not waiting.
He lost that sale.
And most, if you're a publisher, you probably have one of these systems or multiple of these systems as your kind of back end
on your website. Yeah.
So like, we sell on Amazon. We also use PayPal a lot for just quick payments. And then we have our store in our website store on Square. So I only have the Square reader, but what I'm going to do before Gen Con is also get the PayPal reader. I didn't really know about the Amazon one, so I'm going to look into that too.
There you go.
Glad you brought that up.
If you're an old school
backup.
If you're an old school, you do want a backup. If you're an old school Kickstarter user, Kickstarter used to use Amazon Payments before going to Stripe. So if you did a Kickstarter campaign as a producer years ago, you already have an Amazon Payments account. And you've already set that up, and so then you can use this reader.
Yep.
I think a backup is great, because if it goes down, or everybody at Gen Con is using the same thing and it overloads or something, it's great to have that plan B.
It is.
There are things you will forget.
Oh,
so
yeah.
knowing the nearest shopping mall or Office Max or Michael's where you can go get some of these things is useful to know.
And sometimes you want to do that too because it's going to be cheaper and possibly easier than maybe ordering them beforehand and having them shipped to your hotel or putting them in your carry-on bag or
zip ties are going to be zip ties no matter where you go.
Yeah,
so
you might as well go.
pick 'em up online.
So just go to the con a little early. Maybe so you can do that kind of stuff. Do a little shopping.
You know that? I mean, I think you do this too. Some of the booths I'll go to, and that's where to get their bag, right?
Yeah.
At the con,
Yeah.
you see the cool bag walking around,
Yeah.
and that's the promo you want. You're like, oh, I'm going to go there and buy something just to get their awesome bag.
Right.
I've done that before.
Wow, thanks
Yeah.
for the game.
Right. Sleeves are good if you have promo cards that you're giving away. Because if I'm giving you a promo card and I say, here you go, there's no sleeve, there's no way you're going to get that home undamaged.
Right.
Not going to happen. But if you put it in a nice sleeve, sleeves are cheap, especially if you buy them in bulk. Just buy a bunch of them, and then you
Less
give
than
them
a
in a
penny.
nice sleeve.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah.
I think highly of you then, like, oh, this guy
Yeah.
actually gave me a sleeve, because
Yep.
most publishers don't.
Yep. Small bills. Go to the bank, get a whole bunch of 1s and 5s so that you can give people change. A lot of people use cash. I mean, credit cards are nice, but a lot of people at conventions use cash. Some just assume that people won't take credit cards. A lot of booths don't take credit cards, so they bring a lot of cash. I assume anytime I buy something, I'm going to need cash to do it.
Any prices that you set are you going to be dealing whole dollars at that point?
Oh yeah, always. I would never have something less than $1.
That's another advantage of doing the credit card system, is that you can program in the
Right.
sales tax. If you have to pay the sales tax in the state where you're at, you can program in the end of the app, and it charges that on top, and you build rather than having to either eat that out of the cash price or to figure that out separately.
That's actually a good point. At a con, if you're going to a different state, you may have to register with that state as a business, as a vendor.
Yep.
So, I had to do that for Indianapolis for Gen Con. So it's something to at least investigate to see if you need to do that. So that's something.
I would add that to your homework. Also learning where the nearest Michael's or Staples or Office Max.
Yeah.
I know where the Kinko's is in relations to the convention center, so I can get there quickly if I need to do a last minute update or correction.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is tarp or something to put on your stuff after the hall closes.
Okay.
Just kind of helps prevent theft. Most people do that. So just having something to put over some sort of thing that's laying.
Another reason to meet your booth mates on
Yeah.
your sides.
Yeah.
So they're watching out for you and you're
Yep.
watching out for them.
Yep.
Okay.
Some other things. I like eye drop stuff.
There's a lot of cardboard
dust.
particles in
A lot
there.
of dust
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stuff. So my eyes always get red. So I like to have some eye drops. Cough drops are something that you recommended to me recently. That's really nice because I have a small voice, and so when I'm talking in a room like this,
You don't
it's
have
fine.
that problem.
No. but if I'm at a convention and there's a lot of background noise, I'm now yelling in order for me to hear me from this distance.
Yeah.
So that's really.
If you're demoing all day, I can see your voice
Yeah.
going pretty quickly.
My voice is going to be gone after the first day, but there are things I can do. I can stay hydrated, drink tons of water, and then also cough drops are a great addition to that. So
And water's easy to get, when you get there.
yeah,
Get a
do
big
that.
pack of water.
That's what. Yep, at Gen Con when I get there, I'm gonna just go buy actually every day before I go. I'm gonna buy a pack of water to bring, water bottles, probably 12 for every day for me and people at my booth helping out. To other things, pens and markers.
You can buy a nice badge holder online. I think it's worth investing in. Rather than using whatever lanyard sponsored your thing at the con you're going to, use your own lanyard holder. You can even get one where you put your own logo on it with a sticker or whatever. And in my lanyard holder, on the back side, it's got a pocket, and it's got some pin pockets. And in my con lanyard is a Sharpie and a 4-color pin.
Nice.
And so as soon as I put my lanyard on in the morning to go and walk into the con, I always have a pen with me, and I have that stuff there. And that's worth the $5 or $10 you pay for that nice lanyard holder.
You're gonna write down phone numbers, go beat up with someone after the convention or whatever.
And even if you're doing that on technology, you never know if it's going to go down or if someone else is going to be using it while you're trying to get one and someone has to be heading out.
You're gonna need a pen. Yep. Box cutters. You need something. You're probably gonna be opening a lot of boxes if you have a booth. So just get a couple box cutters, super cheap. So just you can cut open the boxes. Don't try to do it with your hands or use a pen or keys. People do that, but just get box cutters. And then tape you're going to need tape. You're going to want to tape up boxes after the show. You might have things you don't sell. You have to put in a box and tape up.
Any specific type of tape that you're...
Probably just packing tape is
Okay.
probably the most convenient one. So get a roll of that. Money holder is something that I kind of put in my furniture section, which it doesn't make sense. So yeah, you need a place to hold all your money because a lot of people do buy stuff with cash. So yeah, something hopefully that will lock up. But if you have to, you can just do kind of a canvas bag of some kind, open it up, put your money in, close it, and then you have something that's just, you can kind of take out of the convention, put it go to the bank, and put it somewhere safe.
That's what the safe in your hotel room is for. You finally get to use that.
Too. There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of taking things in and out of the convention, how about a backpack?
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure
That's a
you
great
have,
idea. Great idea.
something... you're not carrying things in and out with your suitcase.
Yep.
Give you something nice and simple and small.
Yep.
How about,
Yeah.
piece of paper to write down all the things that you've forgotten this time.
Yeah.
I do that in conventions all the time. It's,
A notebook.
Okay, so I learned this time I need this,
Right.
I need this, and then when you get home, that goes on the checklist that
Yep.
you build every time when you...
That's what this is. This is in my phone. This list that we're going through right now, and I've been adding to it over, for the last few years of going.
You're
through
never going to remember everything.
Right.
You can't possibly.
which is why, I have to do this. So,
I think paper's the way to go, Richard, though. I write stuff on my phone down, too.
Right.
But your phone's
You
out of
never know when
battery.
your phone's going to run out of battery. Yeah, exactly.
You got it. It's being used to do a credit card transaction. So I think I take a paper notebook to every con I go to, and I put a bunch of notes in it every time. So I think having a paper
Computer
notebook...
chargers, phone chargers,
Yeah.
things like that you're going to...
and I actually have an extra spare battery too that I bring to every con. So then I plug my phone into that extra battery. So I now have a huge battery that will last like all day easily. That lasts like 3 days. So I use that to make sure my phone will never run out of batteries.
What do you do with all that stuff that you can't take back on the plane with you?
Donate it. A lot of people will even buy a table at Walmart, use it at the con, donate it to a local game group.
So you're just going to have to eat the cost and just say,
Yeah.
all right, well,
Yeah.
I need it there. I can't take it with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if a library maybe could use the chairs and tables. It's super expensive to rent. So I'm renting all my stuff at Gen Con, but I could get it probably for cheaper by just going to Walmart and buying it. But then I have to go do that, and you need a probably some sort of counter to buy or somewhere to go where people are going to buy stuff. It's nice if you have a counter of some kind. So that could be the wireframes that I mentioned. Demo tables. So decide how many games you're going to demo. How big are the tables? How much room are you going to have? New Salem, the table we have at Gen Con won't be able to play an 8-player game. And I found that out because I taped on my carpet the size of the table.
In addition to planning out your tables, you also plan out your booth. You made a map for your booth to plan out, right?
Yeah. So
Brandon's made several
listeners.
booth layout maps, and he's trying to figure out what is the optimal booth layout.
Yeah. So
It
there's a whole bunch of them of just kind of color coordinated of red means Booze Barons, our game that's going to be on Kickstarter after the show. We've got blue for Good Cop, Bad Cop. We've got yellow for New Salem, and so I can see how much room there's going to be. So I do this in a Google Doc spreadsheet, and then I can ask for feedback. This really helps me get my head around how my booth is going to work, where I'm going to be, where my customers are going to be, and how it's going to flow.
I'm a big proponent for the standing tables, and it's not just like the health, benefits, like where they have the standing desks at workplaces. It's for space. I mean, even when you're sitting at a table and you got that bag of stuff that you've already bought, that's hard to maneuver around. Everybody's
got their con bag.
Yeah.
If you're standing, there's a place right in front of you that is taken care of. You also have way less room. There's way less people pushing out chairs, pulling them back in. That just takes up way more room.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of the places I can go, and there's the standing table, and let's play the game, and usually a quick demo at that point. But it's I like that.
Yeah. I want to make the counter argument though. I'm tired walking around the floor,
I know.
going to all these booths, and I'm much more likely to sit for a demo or learn to play than I am to stand.
Sure.
So that is more appealing for me to have, I can go sit down here for a few minutes. In fact, if I'm really tired, I just want to sit and chill for a few minutes, I may sit at your booth I have no interest in just to sit in your chair. And now you can say, hey, let me tell you about this game because I'm sitting in your chair. I'm like, all right. And that does have an appeal to be able to sit down for a few minutes.
I have no plans to have chairs at my booth. So, but now you're making me reconsider that. So I don't know. So it's a tough call. But these are the things you need to figure out, talk to a bunch of people, and ask. You want a table canvas. So you're going to get tables, and this is something you want to buy if you're going to have multiple booths in the future. So you buy some canvases, and then you can get some runners that go over it that will have like your logo on it, or I can switch out the runner for a game logo or whatever I want to promote. And so that's a really good way to do it. You have to invest a little bit. Amazon will be, you can get one for fairly cheap, maybe $50 for a canvas, for a nice thick, like black canvas, and then a runner. You can get a custom logo. That might be another $50 for the custom.
It's a
logo.
huge difference playing on a cloth surface over a plastic surface.
Yeah,
because I imagine most of the tables probably those thick plastic tables.
Yeah, so, you can get really thematic with it too. I've seen people
not to
do
mention
that.
those tables didn't have stains on them. That can
right. How many cons has this table been used for?
That's why I went with black.
Yeah, exactly. You get a nice cloth surface on there, and you can't even tell. It looks a lot like nicer.
And the black makes the colors in your cards in your game pop out.
That's true. That's true. Let me ask you, Jeremy, do you have anything to add to that stuff?
You also want to keep in mind the rules your conventions have. And they have some tighter rules than they had in the past due to bad experiences. Mm-hmm. So 3 things you can't do is you can't give away stickers for your game. Because then people stick them up all over the convention center and they hate that. The convention may prevent you from giving away food because that may compete with the vendors in the convention center that have an exclusive contract. Mm-hmm. And you can't cause pollution. So if your booth has music playing or noise or lights that may or may not be allowed, those booths generally annoy me anyways, and you can't throw things. So that's probably a form of pollution as well. You can't throw T-shirts. I think most booths have you set a contract now.
So make sure you read all the fine print. Make sure you're not doing anything that you shouldn't do.
We talked about giving away T-shirts before and promo cards, so things you want to plan out in advance.
Yep.
Okay, so do not chuck the promo cards.
right. And then there's fire codes too that you might if you don't have like a clear exit, you might get in trouble for that.
All right. Well, thank you again, guys, for the information. We'll come back again next time, and we'll give more information on how to get ready for a convention. In the meantime, this has been the Forbidden Limb Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Noon. I'm here as always with Brian Hink and Jeremy Commander. And we'll see you guys next time. Oh, if you want to add any suggestions for things that we can talk about or any comments on what we have talked about, you can look up our
BoardGameGeek.com.
BoardGameGeek.com, excuse me. Our I was trying to think of the name of the guild. Our guild, Forbidden Limb, on BoardGameGeek.com. Until then, I'll see you guys across the table someday.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.